everyone, welcome back to the second day of the live interviews we're doing as part of our Independent Thinking Online Children's Book Festival in partnership with Sue Atkins Book Club. It was through the Sue Atkins Book Club that I came across this amazing community of children's authors writing books for children, books about children, books for parents, books with so much relevance for schools. I've been recording all week with various authors, and then yesterday, which was Saturday, I had loads of live interviews. I've learned so much about so many different aspects of children's development and what we can do as parents and teachers to help children. It's been amazing, and all these are being recorded, and they'll go on the website, on the web page. So you've got this amazing book-oriented CPD library, that'll be made freely available through our website and also through the Sue Atkins Book Club website as well. So today we're kicking off, the sun is shining in sunny Rotterdam where I am, and keeping on the continent, we're going to go from Rotterdam to Spain, and we're going to meet Lesley Forsythe, and she's going to tell us all about this lovely, colourful book with amazing photos of an amazing young boy in them. Simple Activities for Toddlers, a practical play-at-home handbook for parents. And yet it's for parents, but there's so much information here that's useful for teachers, especially with early years as well. So Lisa, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, why you're in Spain, can we all come, and how you came to be writing this.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. I'm Lesley Forsythe. I'm Australian, but I actually live in Madrid, Spain. And we came here for my husband's job 5 years ago. We were coming for 2 years, it's now been 5. And basically I wrote the book because I needed to help families throughout the pandemic. I say that because the pandemic hit Spain, the second place in the world, really strongly last March. So on the 14th of March, we went into a lockdown where children could not step one foot outside for almost 3 months. And my friends and family around the world were like, oh no, it's our turn for lockdown now. What do I do with my child? And they were trying to juggle working full time, and there was no time for them to go, I need to educate my child. So I actually started an Instagram account, simple toddler activities. And I just posted what I was doing with my son, Thomas. So Thomas at the time was 1.5 years, and we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. My husband worked from home, so our bedroom doubled as an office. And I was just like, think about him as a holistic little person and make sure his needs are being met in all areas of learning. And that includes gross motor, especially for little people, it's super important. So the Instagram account grew and grew, and I came up with the idea in October that actually I could help more people. And that's when the book was born. So I'm a debut author, lived in a foreign country, and all of a sudden the internet became my friend. And so I used a platform called Upwork, and I found this really amazing photographer based in Madrid, Nuno, and you can find his details in my book, because every single photo is color, it is huge, it is professional, it is edited, and we raced against the clock to produce this. So the easy part was writing the book, because I was doing this stuff with my son. And I have been in the education profession for over 15 years. I did all my studies. I have a master's as well in education back in Australia. And I've taught in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and I had my toddler in Spain. And I wrote the book, and then came and photographed everything. We were on a race against the clock. We thought we were going back into lockdown in January, and Portugal did, and we were just like, but a snowstorm hit, of all things, in Madrid. Philomena came and actually delayed us shooting for a week. And yeah, we spent a whole month getting this done with my son Thomas, and published the book straight away.
Wow. People won't believe you when you say in the future, when you say, yeah, we were locked down for however many months, and then the book was delayed by the Madrid snow. People just won't believe it. I remember seeing photos of that. We've got contacts in Madrid, and just how mad it all was, the lockdown, and then the snow, and people sort of, you know, sledging in the streets, or, you know, taking kids out in the streets. At least you could get out. And it's hard. Did you have at least a balcony? I know that balconies came into their own in places like Madrid during lockdown. Did you have a balcony?
Yeah, we did. So we were lucky in that sense, and the fact that my Spanish lessons were all cancelled. I was doing intensive Spanish lessons every day. My son was 3, but I didn't have to work full time. And so what I did was make my job with my son priority, and helping my friends and family through my Instagram account. And that's what kind of kept me sane. Because the situation was so bad, we decided to move to a house in September when we were allowed to actually go and look for somewhere else to live. Lockdown never came again. It was always restrictions, but I have no regrets. My son has not been back to nursery, but he will be starting in September. And my account and my book have been doing really well because the situation is not the same on all continents around the world at the same time. It's insane to think that Australia, with their lockdown and shutting the rest of the world off, is currently in a really tough 2-week lockdown in Sydney. It's insane because now they're like, oh, I need some help with some ideas. I'm like, well, my book is now in Australia. You can buy that, or education should be free and it should have access to as many people as possible. So that's why I continue with my Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, because I'm trying to help your everyday family, because everyday families aren't going to be looking for textbooks. But being an educator, I wrote the book with educators in mind. If you're a teacher, you're going to be nodding a lot in a moment. So what I wanted to do was to create a resource for the early years practitioners where they could be like, oh, this child, I wish they had more fine motor control. Oh, I wish this child just didn't learn rotely numbers 1 to 100 and backwards. I wish they knew 1-to-1 correspondence. This book is about that. It's about developing children's foundational skills. And so even in the title, it does say for parents, but as educators, you can recommend it to parents because you want the children in your class coming to school, to nursery, to daycare, prepared. You want them to know how to communicate. Hi, my name is, how are you today? You want them to be able to be independent. You want them to think critically and ask questions about the world. So they're the sorts of key skills that are embedded in this book and explicitly stated on every activity. Because there are parents out there who want to know, by doing this, what is my child learning? So it takes all the mystery away, but also for educators who are so busy, they have so many resources, but there isn't necessarily a lot of quality resources out there for parents. And this is like bridging that gap. For early years, it's also really great for reception or kindergarten, depending where you live. And if you're from a family of multiple children, the elder ones will help the younger ones. If you're in a Montessori style environment with the varying age levels, then this is great because it's something that they can all do together.
That's fantastic. You talk about in the beginning, in page 9, I think it is, the holistic development principle. What is the holistic development principle? What do you mean?
So it's looking at developing kids' social and emotional skills. It's about their fine motor, their gross motor. It's about communication. It's giving them an appreciation of the environment as well. So during lockdown, we couldn't go out, but we could bring the environment in through natural resources like flowers or stones or whatever it may be. But it's also using a lot of recyclables. So it's about upcycling egg cartons to create a blue whale, for example. It's about realizing you do not need to spend a lot of money on all these plastic toys. You have so much for free that you throw out every day to be recycled, hopefully, and just using what you have and teaching your child that this bottle, this milk bottle, can also be a planter. It can be decorated in the shape of a giraffe, whatever you want it to be. And that's something you can do, and all families have access to that at home.
I was surprised, but now I'm not surprised. One of the first activities were the animal ice rescue, and I'm thinking she's living in Spain and she's using ice and snow. But I get it now. Was that taken during the snowstorm? Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the first activities that we could actually take photos of. And I'm like, let's use the ice.
Yeah.
And Nuno's like, that's brilliant. What else do you have that involves ice or rescuing? And so that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
So it was real snow and ice that had got stuck to our balcony.
You use, there's very tactile, so much of it is tactile. You use salt, you use jelly, you use Play-Doh. I really like the emotion tray, which is a Play-Doh thing, but I could just see that as an activity for little children to understand emotions, maybe for children maybe on the autistic spectrum as well, who maybe have a little bit more trouble understanding the looks on people's faces and actually sort of physically creating faces. Is that what it's designed for, working in that sort of way, the emotion tray?
Definitely. But it's also about, on every activity, I have a vocabulary as well. It's also about equipping children with the vocabulary to describe an emotion, because we know that children need these words to alleviate their frustration. To be able to communicate what they're feeling really does help with the terrible twos, threes, toddlers, any of those associated terrible twos. But the other thing is the sensory aspect. Children learn through touch. Some children do not like certain sensations, but the more they have exposure to something, the better it is for them and their body to start absorbing different tactiles, different textures, and it all gets processed. And when it involves all the senses, just like getting out a mirror, let them pull the faces, let them see what their face looks like when they're happy, when they're sad. Also helps them to get out some of that energy. The use of buttons or whatever you might want to provide that's safe for the age of the child is about recreating certain facial expressions. So yes, it's great for autistic children, but it's great for all children. We have to learn about emotions.
I usually ask people to sort of read an extract from their book during these interviews. Is there a particular bit of your book that your favourite you want to share with us?
I think what people need to know the most about a book, it's all colour-coded, it's all organised, from upcycling to sensory play, small world, imaginative play as well. Every single activity is in colour, so it's actually child-friendly. They can pick up the book, they can flick through it themselves to find what they would like to do. Every activity has vocabulary suggestions, brilliant for bilingual families as well. But it's also organised in a way that you know the skills that your child is going to be working on, the materials you need. There's a step-by-step. And the other part I labelled another way to play is actually adaptations. How do you make this activity, just slightly change it to become a whole new activity to teach something different? So in education, we always talk about adaptations, but parents don't need to know those sorts of technical terms. But basically, you go through the book and you will find a variety of activities. It's really focusing on skill. It's not on the market, this type of book, because I self-published. I did it in response to the pandemic, but I also had my educator's hat on. And I wanted this to be a resource that has longevity, not just for making families' lives better and building memories and bonds, but actually useful for educators to recommend to families to build up the skills of the kids coming into their classes, into their schools. It's not about going, oh, I wish they knew X, Y, Z. the mystery is taken out because it's about those fundamental skills.
I love the line, there's no rush to learn to write. I like that, because certainly in England at the moment, are they school ready? They've got to be able to hold their pen. We're testing them at the age of 4 and 5. That's the intention. So it's always about trying to channel them into this sort of academic learning. And you're saying there's no rush. Which so many other countries appreciate, that it isn't a rush. It's not a competition. It's not a race. Let's just develop all these other skills. Back to the holistic development principle that we talked about at the beginning. My favourite one is page 112, the alphabet sticker match. And I could just see schools doing that in all sorts of ways. There's so many different variations on a theme. Just tell us about the alphabet sticker match.
So basically, this activity is designed to be on a wall. So it's also developing their upper body strength. But it's a piece of paper, super simple. Write the letters of the alphabet in capitals, for example. Then you can have little dot stickers or square stickers and write the lowercase. And then you can match that to the letter on the wall, just like Ian's showing you now. But you can obviously change that if your child is only learning the letters in their name, and that's where you should focus, only write those letters. If your child is only beginning, as I suggest, then make sure you're just doing the capitals. Next time, just doing the lowercase. If you use this activity, you can also do it for numbers. You can do so many different things, and that's the whole point. Kids love it because they're not sitting, they're moving, and it's just learning, but they don't realize they're learning.
I love that activity. I've seen something similar with it, where you're throwing a ball at a wall in a special school with older children, and it's like you say, they're moving, it's physical, it's fun, it's a game. They don't know they're learning, yet they are also processing all the language skills that they need to be doing. I just can see that working in so many ways. So wow, the time goes quickly. It's worth mentioning that it's STEAM, that the whole science, technology, was English, arts, maths. It's all sort of STEAM friendly, working in that sort of way. I like the idea that you refer to play, that the parent or the adult working with the child becomes a role model in this whole process of playing and enjoying and being part of something, and the upcycling, all of that is part of, and the natural world, all of those things are really important messages that come through. And in terms of the looks, I don't know whether people have sort of picked it up in this video, but hopefully they'll buy it and have a look for themselves. It's like a cookbook. It's like one of those really nicely photographed cookbooks, and there are even recipes at the back. The recipe for snow dough is worth the price of the book in itself.
Yeah.
Where can Alisa, where can people get hold of the book? How can they get hold of you? I know for this book festival we're going to deal with the Roving Bookshop. I don't know whether yours is on there, but people can go to the Roving Bookshop website, which go to our links, and then you can get signed copies and dedicated copies. How can people? You mentioned your Instagram and other things, Lisa. How can people get hold of you?
So the best way is my website. It's a week old, so it's only going to grow from there. My main account is Instagram, all together, no spaces, lower, but my on Amazon worldwide. So wherever you are, print on demand, which is just a blessing for self-published authors who want to get their work out there, who really want to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoy it and you find it useful. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Ian.
No, that's okay. And yeah, print on demand pod, as it's called, is a new technology. There's not warehouses full of books anymore. You just click the button, they print it, it gets sent to you. It's very clever. And what's also interesting is, from a lockdown point of view, that your book will sell in waves as the waves go around the world, and people suddenly get locked back down again. Your book will sell in waves as well. So and yeah, you'll be big in Sydney for a little while.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, that's my home country. It'd be nice. My biggest market is the UK. But yeah, it'd be nice to help more families around the world. And yeah, as you said, the book, all professional photos, all organised as well by Nuno Perestello, who became a book designer as well.
The pandemic has its upsides. There are things that have come out of it that from the awfulness, there are some good bits, and this book is definitely one of the good bits. So Lisa, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Good luck with it all. See you soon.
Thank you. Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.